welcome to the CultCast, the worst Apple podcast on the whole internet, which is why we call it the shitcast.
Oh my God.
I know.
Coming out of the gate hot.
I said he could change the intro. I wasn't expecting that.
And today, I'm your host, Leander Caney. I'm the editor-in-chief and the publisher of Cult of Mac. It's a long-running Apple blog. And today we have joining us Lewis Wallace. He's the Cult of Mac managing editor. And D. Griffin Jones. He's our resident how-to writer. So welcome, guys.
Hey.
Good evening.
Evening.
So, yeah, not here. It's
I round up.
freezing cold afternoon. So we're going to try a little bit of a new format on the show today. Instead of it making all discussion about news, which is what we've done for the last 25 years or whatever, how long it's been, we're going to try and do what we do on the Cult of Mac website, which is a mix of news, reviews, and how-tos. So we're going to start the show with 3 news items. We're going to talk about this new low-cost MacBook that's coming up, Apple's smarter Siri problems, and then we're going to try and do a how-to. Griffin's going to show us some of the best Apple Watch faces and how to change them and customize them and which ones you should be choosing. And then we're going to do a review. I'm going to look at 3 CarPlay screens that I've been testing out. These are portable CarPlay screens, easiest way to add CarPlay to your device. All right, I'd like to thank Factor for sponsoring this week's show. Factor is a ready-to-eat meal delivery service that gives you dietitian-approved meals. It's no hassle, they're ready in 2 minutes, and it's perfect for active lifestyles. They arrive fresh, ready to eat, and you have 45 different menu options. You can choose from things like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and there's even a GLP-1 menu that will offer sort of meals that are balanced between protein and calories if you're on one of those weight loss jabs. They offer breakfast, go-to lunches, dinners, snacks, and guilt-free desserts. So I'm really curious about this, guys. I haven't actually tried it, but you two have both been on the Factor plan, yeah? So
oh, yeah, baby. They're delicious. They show up. They show up in a giant box, right? Completely insulated, and they're not frozen. They're fresh, and you just pop them in the fridge, and you've got a week's worth of dinner right there, or lunch, or whatever. And oh man,
that sounds right up my alley. My God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Better than Trace's cooking. My wife's cooking.
and it's great because like these are meals that are designed to be microwaved. You know, it's not like having leftovers where you try reheating an Applebee's burger and the bun is terrible and the meat is even worse than when it was fresh. Like the actual stress test is, you know, for everything is always seafood, right? Like how good is their shrimp or their salmon really? You know,
right.
Especially pasta.
Delicious.
Like pasta is so easy to go wrong. It can be gummy or weird or rubbery, but no, they sent me, they had the gall to try and send me like a shrimp cavatappi pasta, and it was perfectly good. It was really good. Yeah, it tasted fine. It didn't stink up my entire kitchen with the smell of fish, and it was good food. They always have you like, you know, a meat, like a little bit of like rice or pasta or something like that. Vegetables, there's always like a little serving of vegetables on the side. Like it's always good food, and you know that you're not just taking in a bunch of empty calories. And
choices are good. You got a good bunch of choices.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the portions are good. They don't skimp.
Yeah. And if you like to eat a lot, it's really easy to add a little more by, like, you know, serving something over tortilla chips or like adding a little roll or something on the side. It's good food.
Bulk it up, yeah.
All right, well, I was very impressed with like a pork chop I got that was like so juicy. You know, I mean, I've had restaurants screw up pork chops, and this was great, man. I mean, the fish is always good. This one steak and shrimp combo thing, oh my God, delicious. They're always like saucy too, which is like almost a little much to me. I mean, some of them are kind of rich. I mean, depending on which ones you go for, you know. Like I think I was on the Protein Plus, and that thing was like, wow, it's so delicious.
It's making me hungry, and I just had lunch. All right, so if you're interested, get started at factormeals.com, and then /CultCast50off. Use the code CultCast50off. Don't forget, you got to use that code. Very, very important. CultCast50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. 50% off. That's a good deal. So don't forget, that's code CultCast50off at factormeals.com/CultCast50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/CultCast50off. Okay, so the first story we have today is that Apple may launch its most affordable MacBook ever. And when they say ever, this sounds crazy. So next year, the rumors are there's a new MacBook, and it's coming from Ming-Chi Kuo, who has a stellar record as an Apple analyst and forecaster. Ming-Chi is saying that it's going to be a 13-inch display with an A18 Pro chip. And now this is the same chip that's going to be coming in the iPhone 17 Pro lineup. And you think, yeah, okay, iPhone chip, this doesn't sound very exciting. But this thing is a beast. This is actually better than some desktop chips. I saw some on the socials, someone comparing it to a Geekbench scores, a single thread, I think, for the Intel i9 14900K, whatever that is. It's a 2003 desktop chip. It's not the fastest Intel chip they have, but it's a pretty fast chip. And this thing beats it, the A18 Pro. This is a really, really pretty good chip. And it's interesting, I thought, that they're bringing, iPhone chips to MacBooks, where before Apple was bringing, M series chips to its portable devices like the iPad. So anyway, this thing's supposed to be coming in like a bunch of different colors: blue, pink, yellow, silver, probably black. Although I don't think he mentioned black. And then Ming-Chi Kuo says it's going to go into production either in Q4 2025 or early 2026. And usually Apple launches products a couple of months after they go into mass production. So we can probably expect to see this in the first half of next year. And Apple's, pretty. They've been missing those COVID numbers during the COVID era. MacBooks were selling somewhere in the range of 25 million in 2026, and I think they've been dipping recently. So they're hoping that a new low-cost machine could sell somewhere between 5 and 7 million units and bump their numbers back up to that sort of COVID area, work from home, when everyone upgraded their machines, and the Mac was seeing these bumper sales. And this is the craziest thing. Now, did Ming-Chi? Do you guys know? Did Ming-Chi Kuo mention the price in his? No,
I don't think he did.
So I saw some speculation on the socials, and they might just purely be making this up. It's $600, which I don't know. Does that sound? How does that sound to you guys?
Right now, Apple sells the Walmart M1 MacBook Air, the old MacBook Air from late 2020. They sell that at Walmart for I think $650, and taking the Apple tax, like these would be new models that they'd be coming out with. So my finger in the air guess is probably 700 or 750. I think 600 is a little optimistic considering the Mac Mini doesn't have a display, doesn't have a battery, costs $500. I think. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. So I'm thinking 700 or 750, but I think this is generally like a pretty smart strategy. One, because millions of people, everybody knows somebody who bought that early 2020 MacBook Air that's now 5 years old and is on an Intel chip. They're all due for an upgrade, and this would be an excellent computer. If you say, oh, this is a brand new model and it only starts at $750, I mean, that's a great deal. But also, this is a really smart move for Tim Cook as well, because maybe what might be the most wasteful part of Apple's chip manufacturing supply chain right now is that every year they make a new A series Pro chip for the iPhone that only goes in the Pro iPhone and doesn't really go in that much else. Like the iPad Mini, I think, got the Pro chip just because it was what they had left around. Like they discontinue the Pro phones after exactly a year, and they've designed a whole chip just for those. Well, this is another thing that can take them. Like it's extending the life of the Pro Series A series chip. Finding a new product to put them in.
Yeah, good point.
Which has probably been keeping Tim Cook up at night. Just knowing that there's a slight inefficiency.
Well, do you think he worries about cannibalizing, sales if this thing is so cheap? I guess there's still plenty of people who would go for a more expensive MacBook, wouldn't they?
I feel like it would lowering the barrier to entry would open the door to many more people than it would. Convince people who would otherwise buy $1,000 MacBook. Like if you have the money to buy $1,000 MacBook, there's still a reason to buy the, M4 MacBook Air instead of this. I mean, if you think about all of the things that'll probably be cut out of this new MacBook compared to the current MacBook Air, it's probably going to have a rectangular, smaller display. It's probably going to be made out of plastic instead of aluminum.
3-inch bezels.
Plastic.
Yeah, it probably won't have Thunderbolt because it'll probably just be because the A18 Pro I think only supports USB 4, which isn't as good. So it won't have as good I/O. It won't have as many ports. It probably won't have MagSafe either, if I had to guess.
Yeah. No MagSafe. Wow. Well, I bought a 750 M2 MacBook Air that was on sale last year, and this is the industrial design is absolutely flat out gorgeous on this thing. It's it's really incredible. Space gray, beautiful looking machine, and I love that the boxy edges. It's stunning. The keyboard is fantastic. The screen's really nice and bright. It's super light, really portable. The battery life is insane. It just goes on and on forever. If they have the same industrial design and if they can bring it in those different colors, I mean, it's going to be really, really attractive.
I was surprised. I've heard a lot of people who miss the M1 MacBook Air and earlier style shape where it's the wedge, the little triangle shape. A lot of people miss that particular shape as opposed to the flat one. It
looks really dated to me now. It looks really, really dated.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lewis? That's your main machine, isn't it?
I think they look great, man. They're comfortable. They're easy to use. And I mean, you said plastic? I mean, was that ever mentioned with this thing? This MacBook?
That was part of an earlier rumor that they were exploring a cheaper MacBook made out of plastic instead of aluminum. Oh. And if they're doing bright colors, that would be an easy way to differentiate them because, as we know, it's just impossible to make colorful aluminum according to Apple.
Cannot be done. That would kind of surprise me just because it would seem kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of cheap, I think of plastic computers, I think of, PC, Chromebooks, whatever.
I did actually, hear from an Apple engineer who worked on who helped develop aluminum, colored aluminum for Apple. And it is really hard to get the color matching. Apparently, it's very, very, very difficult, especially if you get, you can get sometimes a slightly different shape for the lid or for the keyboard chassis. Getting that, getting them to match exactly is much harder than it looks, apparently.
I believe it. I do not envy their material designers. They're probably very busy all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're excited about that. Can't wait. Lewis, what do you think? You've got the next story about Apple's smarter Siri woes.
The debacle continues. Yeah. So we've been talking about it for weeks. The smarter Siri's been delayed. This latest rumor is that Apple might outsource the AI part of making this smarter Siri to Anthropic. Is that how you pronounce it? Anthropic or Anthropic? I don't know.
Anthropic, I think.
Anthropic.
I would have said Anthropic, yeah.
Excuse me. Anthropic or OpenAI. Apple's supposedly been testing this a lot, and Siri chief Sam Rockwell and other execs think Anthropic, now that I know how to say it, is the best fit. First read this headline, wow, is this like a panic? Are they going into panic mode? Or are they? It sounds like they're just kind of doing due diligence. This isn't a done deal. They're not definitely doing this. They're just sort of covering their bases in case the in-house LLMs don't pan out. The last thing we heard was that they had been trying to get it out by this spring, and basically the first version that they were using with the LLMs just didn't work. Like up to 70% of the time it worked or something stupid and terrible like that. But then so they just decided, screw it, we're going to go with our second version. We're going to wait and get it right. And I guess this is like hedging their bets just in case that second version doesn't get to be better than 70%. However, this report comes from Bloomberg. Mark Gurman, of course, reporting. He says, quote, a competing project internally dubbed LLM Siri that uses in-house models remains in active development. That's what I was just talking about. Would this be a giant black eye for Apple? It wouldn't look good if they had to once again say, gee, we just couldn't pull it off in-house. A lot of people, one of the concerns is privacy, right? Because that's the big selling point of Apple Intelligence. Privacy. It's privacy. They're going to take care of all your data and everything. And looping in a third party makes maybe some people nervous. But
Well, I was going to say that seems to be the biggest objection when you thought, because like it wasn't that the whole reason why they're developing in-house, and because they're using ChatGPT right now in Apple Intelligence, but the whole idea wasn't it was that was a stopgap until they could come up with their own sort of much more private LLM, especially if it's going to have access to all of your data. So then they're just going to chuck that out the window and say, okay, whatever, we're going to use Claude. And
I think I heard elsewhere that they were maybe as like part of striking up these deals, they were going to negotiate such that these third-party models that they would be using would still run on Apple's own private cloud compute server, which good luck convincing them to agree to do that, but that would alleviate some of the concerns on a technical level. I don't think it would make me feel good about using it. I probably wouldn't, but the other thing is though that this is kind of upsetting as somebody who is a little disillusioned with the AI bubble and kind of trusts Apple to do it right or not at all. Like if you can't do it right, don't bother. But if anything, I think like the best outcome from here is that this just like lights a fire up the ass of Apple engineers and like knowing that there's competition and that the plan B you won't be happy with.
Yeah.
You don't want to be made to do that. That could be a motivating factor to get them to get the proper Siri Apple way done. That's
an interesting idea. Do you think Tim Cook just leaked this just to light a fire underneath his with the team?
I don't know about that, but I think it might be a strategy that maybe lower levels of management are using. I mean, Craig Federighi said a while ago, if we can't do it well, go ahead, use the third-party model, and that turned out really great for the Swift Assist thing in Xcode, because there just isn't a very big pool of Swift programming data for them to be able to make a good model there. And what they turn Swift Assist into is an evolved system where it's like, if you do any kind of programming in Xcode, you can plug in any model you want. You can run an on-device model. You can just plug in an API key and use your favorite model. And then they ended up making a better product out of it. I don't know if Apple is going to give everybody the keys to that with Siri on their own phones, but more competition is always better. If the competition, if they're setting the bar of, if you can't make this work well enough, we're just going to strike up a deal with Anthropic, then that's introducing competition into the system, and that's what Siri needs.
Yeah. Well, have you used Claude?
No.
Have you, Lewis?
No, I just I basically use ChatGPT or Grok. I haven't spent that much time with all these third. There seems like there's so many now. It's like, have you?
Well, no, I haven't. But it's from a bunch of OpenAI exiles, right? I think it was like some of the early OpenAI team that split off. And I've read good things about it. I mean, I've read some, that people are falling in love with Claude, and it's supposed to be like I think that New York Times had a story about it a few months ago that was saying it was the favorite of the Silicon Valley sort of set, whatever that means. But it's a favorite one. And it's supposed to be really personable. I think it has a huge memory. I think they did a good job personalizing it. With giving it some personality, like Siri, is what I'd read. So I haven't used it, so I'm not 100% sure if you could attest to that. Plus, it's supposed to remember. It has a long memory, so it can remember conversations. I think for longer than most of the others. So it has that more, human-like. It just seems a little more human-like because it'll remember conversations that you had. Like weeks before.
That's less human-like for me. I don't remember what happened yesterday.
Right? Yeah, me too. Yeah, good point. Superhuman.
Gathering information to blackmail you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that'd be interesting to see how this thing shakes out. It seems so weird that Apple can't get a grip on this. I mean, you think a company like Apple with basically unlimited resources, and talent and the name, But then again, Meta this last week was recruiting engineers with 100 million bonuses. 100 million signing bonuses. 100 million. This is like there was a tweet that compared one of the data scientists they recruited. That some.
Oh right, I saw that.
He's worth more than Ronaldo, which is just insane.
Oh God.
I mean, there was a thing a while ago in one of the stories that the engineers working on this thing wanted to spend more money. They wanted to buy a whole bunch of computers to, train these models. And it went all the way up to CFO Luca Maestri, and he just said no.
Really?
Yeah.
You wonder why would they say no? I mean, it's not like they're short of a few pennies.
You would think, yeah.
Well, though, Amazon, another interesting story last week was Amazon's new data center in Indiana. They're building this enormous compound. 8 truly gigantic data centers that are all going to be networked together for this enormous Amazon super brain. And, Altman has been saying that the limits really now on AI is the amount of energy that you can devote to it. That's the limiting factor. It's not necessarily the chips or the size of the data center. It's the amount of energy you can harness to run them. Which, and of course, this is all burning the planet up at a really alarming rate.
Think of all the great artwork, though. Yeah. 6-fingered people.
I'd like not to.
Well, some of the newest video I've seen is really, it's indistinguishable from real. It doesn't have that gloss or that sheen. It doesn't have the AI look anymore. I mean, it's as real as real. It's crazy. You're not going to be able to trust your eyes anymore for sure. Anyway, on that cheery note, Griffin.
Yeah.
A lighter, cheaper Visionaire. This is what's going to rescue Apple's whole headset dream, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Apple views head-mounted devices as the next major trend in consumer electronics, says, again, Ming-Chi Kuo, as he wrote on Sunday. Visionaire will come at a, quote, significantly lower price point than Vision Pro, according to Kuo. Yeah, thank God. To lower the cost, it'll use an iPhone processor rather than a Mac-grade one, and will include fewer sensors. It'll weigh 40% less, which would put it at 0.8 pounds. That's very important. Quote, weight reduction would be achieved through glass-to-plastic replacement, extensive magnesium alloy use, with titanium alloys being deemed too expensive, and a reduced sensor count, according to Kuo. He says that mass production of the Visionaire headset won't begin, however, until the third quarter of 2027.
Sheesh.
So, what?
Mark your calendars. Over 2 years away, Visionaire.
Wow.
In the nearer term, Apple still plans a chip-in-chip update to the current Vision Pro for release later this year with the M5 instead of the M2, with no other changes. Just a quick thing they can get out the door, I guess. Apple's also working on smart glasses after the team up between Meta and Ray-Ban showed there's a bunch of consumer interest there. So they're approaching this from the high end with the Vision Pro, the middle end, I guess, I don't like that phrase, of the Visionaire, and also the low end with these smart glasses. A report out this spring said Apple will release its first smart glasses in 2026, but Kuo says the launch is farther away. Mass production supposedly isn't scheduled to begin until spring 2027. So that's still a work in progress, I guess. The first generation smart glasses won't have a screen and will be controlled with voice commands and gestures for audio playback, camera, video recording. But in the second half of 2028, so now 3 years from now, we'll bring an upgraded version of glasses with a built-in display. And over time, the whole Vision line of headsets will get lighter and cheaper, and the glasses will get more powerful.
Jeez, I hope I'm still alive by then.
Approaching it from all angles, yeah.
So, what, no screen? What? No screen in the first cheapo AR glasses?
Yeah, you would think that if they're the product, remit for this device is that it doesn't have a screen, that they'd be able to put it together a little quicker than 2027. It seems like a pretty simple thing to, just slap together and ship. But that's more surprising to me than the fact that like the fact that it's such a simple product and they can't get it out the door for another 2 years from now, and then a year later they'll have one with a screen. Like, why not just wait until then? Yeah,
I guess not. I don't know. They must be looking to miniaturize all the components and do a lot of learning and stuff like that. I mean, I guess a screen would be a high draw component. It would really tax the battery much more than just having speakers and cameras in the thing.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in some glass hole?
I would, yeah.
AR glasses?
I've always thought that if the Vision Pro, project 5 years from now, if the Vision Pro it has the same power and can do all the same things as a computer or an iPhone, then the lightweight glasses would be the equivalent of like an Apple Watch. Like, it's something you can wear that'll just, instead of think of it as like an Apple Watch on your face instead. It's like a regular pair of glasses, except it, it has light interactions. Like it'll show you your notifications. You can respond to them. Little stuff like that to just stay out of your way.
Well, will it show you notifications though if it doesn't have a screen?
I mean, yeah, not if it doesn't have a screen. It'd just be a little camera and music player at that point. It's more like super-powered AirPods, really.
I was going to say, yeah, you already get all of this functionality through AirPods. I mean, and I had to turn off the AirPods notifications. It would just drive you mad, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the main thing about this, I think, is the camera and the video recording. And I don't know what they mean by AI environmental sensing. No idea what that would mean. But from an audio perspective, why would you wear glasses when you could put an AirPod in your ear? I mean, it doesn't. I mean,
personally, I don't really like wearing earbuds or headphones a lot. I generally prefer music or podcasts or stuff like that to just be playing out in the open. I don't really. I'll do it. I'll put in earbuds if other people are in the house.
That's what I was going to say.
I prefer to just play out in the open.
Yeah, and, sure. If
I'm
you're by
already
yourself.
wearing glasses, so. Yeah.
Right, but are you going to buy a different pair of glasses? Are you going to wear them over top of those, or you're going to have a second pair? I don't know. The whole thing of like those Soundcore things that Airfon tried. Those Soundcore, I can't remember the name of the product, but they're glasses that are basically AirPods. I mean, they're sunglasses and they have audio. And he says the audio sounds decent. I guarantee you it doesn't sound as good as AirPods. And do you really want to be listening to your podcast or your music and having, people in the subway hearing it too? I mean,
the neat thing about the speakers built into the Vision Pro is that because they're right next to your ear, it doesn't have to play very loud at all. Somebody in the same room as me, but, not immediately next to me, they might hear like a little gentle whisper, but, they won't be able, it's not like they'll be distracted by the same video that I'm watching. And, that also doesn't stop people on their phones, just like playing TikTok with other people in the room. It's amazing to me that people don't have the shame to quiet that down. But, people are different. If Apple makes a version of these glasses in a brown tortoise pattern, then yeah, I bought in. I'll wear those every day.
Will you walk around videoing your grocery store trips? I mean, I suppose the way people like to share that kind of mundane crap on the internet, that might be for life streamers or whatever. They used to call them when they first started doing that, right? Life streamers. What a ridiculous term. But
those Meta's got some, and they're very popular, aren't they? But they've only got 2 or 3 hours of battery life, which seems to be kind of, I don't know, that would be a total deal killer for me. It would have to last all day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I suppose it could be fun to wear to a party, I could see bands wearing them on stage, capture some wild crap on stage. But, or any kind of performer, whatever. But I don't know, man. Sounds awfully weak. And if you think about like the Glass Hole product, what was it? Google Glass? What was that? 10, 15 years ago? They had something where you could see, like, turn right at the next intersection. That's one of the coolest things I think of for these. If you're in a city you don't know and you're trying to get somewhere and you can actually like just see a big arrow pointing you to your destination right in front of your eyes. That would be awesome.
We tried using that actually a couple of years ago on the iPhone, and it was awful. It didn't work at all.
Tried using
and it burns up your iPhone battery, and then it's just dead.
Yeah.
What the?
Well, I think it was where we were because we were in Italy and Spain, and we were trying to negotiate, through the narrow streets, and there was a lot of connectivity issues. So it wasn't necessarily the tech, I think. Really, that's a bit unfair. It was mostly there was a lag with getting the next set of directions. So sometimes we'd end up walking and then suddenly get a thing say, "Oh, turn left," but what it meant turn left 4 blocks back, and by which point we'd missed it. I mean, it does. It's it was using the little arrows on the VR kind of display thing. It sounded cool in theory, but it just didn't work in practice. Of course, it might change now with 5G. And if there's better connectivity in these little European towns,
and Apple has their own chip team on their side, like Facebook doesn't have that. Apple's making their own in-house chips that'll probably be. Apple wouldn't ship anything with bad battery life; they never do, except for the first Apple Watch.
I was trying to think.
Maybe the current Apple Watch.
Some PowerBooks were really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very true. I wonder where they put the batteries. I mean, do you think they could put the battery in the frame, like all the way around the frame? And
wait till that sucker catches fire.
Yeah, right. Well, anyway, all right, let's move on. So I'd also like to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this week's podcast. Squarespace is a great way to set up your own website. You can get a completely personalized website with a new guided design system called Squarespace Blueprint. You can choose from professionally curated layout and styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. And it can be tailored to your brand or business and optimized for every device. So easily launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated, optimized SEO tools, super important. So you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. They also have flexible payment plans. You can make checkout seamless for your customers with simple but powerful payment tools, accept credit cards, PayPal, and Apple Pay, and in eligible countries, offer customers the option to buy now and pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay. It's a great way to sell content. You can sell exclusive content on your site by adding a paywall to sell memberships or courses, or sell files to your customers that can download, like PDFs, music, or ebooks. So get started at squarespace.com/cultcast for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain with code CultCast at checkout. So don't forget squarespace.com/cultcast for 10% off. All right, so Griffin, you are... This is going to be our how-to section. So we were hoping that we could do how-tos, show people how to do stuff, and we were hoping that not just show you how to, here's the settings, here's the different things you could look at, but like some sort of expert advice. Like here's not just how to do it, but here's how you should do it. And we're going to kick this off with some of the coolest Apple Watch faces that you can get in your Apple Watch, and we're going to get Griffin to walk us through some of the coolest Apple Watch faces you can set up on your Apple Watch.
Yeah. So this is an article, and there's also a video where I do a tier list of all of the Apple Watch faces if you're interested in or care about tier lists. But of course, the selection of Apple Watch faces that Apple has made available has changed since I made that video a while ago. But this is the article, and this is more tailored advice. A lot of people, when I see people wearing an Apple Watch, almost 90% of the time, they just have the modular face, and also 90% of the time, they just have like the basic rubber sport band. But the Apple Watch its whole thing is about customization. You can make it yours. Is that exact? And Lewis is saying that is exactly what he has. But there are a lot of great options. Like if you really care about fitness, or you like closing your rings, they have 3 different watch faces just for that, a digital one and 2 different analog faces, so you can keep an eye on your rings all day long. If you're one of the big boys with an Apple Watch Ultra, they have the Wayfinder face, and this has so many complications on it. Like you can fit 8 complications on there. You've got all these dials and things, and I mean, and also on the Apple Watch Ultra, they do the thing where they turn red. Is this the face that you have, Leander?
Yeah, there it is. See? The Apple. Hold on, I like it because I got it to match the band. I have a white silicone band and then the white watch face when it activates.
That's a pretty good look.
I thought it was very cool. I think it's got 8 or 10 complications, maybe even more. But I have Shazam and workouts, temperature, the sunlight, the UV index. Yeah, it's super handy for seeing a whole bunch of stuff. I like the compass too, even though I don't use it. Yeah,
the gimmick on this one is that you can tap the face of the clock and it'll turn into a compass for wayfinding.
Right. Yeah, that's very cool. I like all these. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's analog, and being a bit thick, I always have to think. What time is that? I prefer a digital face. So it would be perfect if I could put a digital face on it. But yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I'd say my overall criticism of the Apple Watch faces is there aren't enough good digital ones. A lot of them are analog, because a lot of them are the people on that team, I imagine, are watch nerds, and watch nerds just, oh no, we're too highfalutin to make these digital faces. Just learn how to tell the time.
I know, what are we, Casio?
Yeah. Anyways, next up in the list of great analog watch faces, we have the Breathe ones. And I guess if you're really into meditation, this might be good for you, but I just think they look kind of cool. Like they are. That's one of the coolest faces on the whole lot. It looks
one
really
of them,
80s
one of them is
and like
really
glowing.
Beautiful. When you lift it up, it blooms. And it's so zen, it's so calming. It's actually a beautiful. A friend of mine had it, and I'm like, "What the heck is that?" I've got to get that one. Mm-hmm. It really has a beautiful face.
If you're sick of the regular modular and you want maybe a spicy modular, but you still want to have all the data in front of you, you can use Modular Duo. I think this is available on the Series 7 and later because it has a slightly larger display, and you can have 2 of the big, like, rich complications on there, and another small complication in the upper left, and the digital time. So you can have like your full calendar. You can have, more detailed, like, hour by hour weather if you want. You can have like graphs of your daily activity. This is a good Apple Watch face if you're a big fan of graphs and you want a few graphs on there every time you look down.
I'm going to get that one right now.
Oh yeah. What complications are you going to put there?
Well, I can't even find it, so I have no idea.
That's fair.
But maybe I'll do that later. But that sounds up my alley. I do like those rich complications. I've got Infograph, I think it is one of the ones I use, or maybe it's Modular Ultra, and you can get the weather there, and that's good for seeing at a glance. What the weather's going to be like coming up. Oh look, freezing, even more freezing, really freezing.
Oh wow!
Summer in San Francisco.
It's going to be 90 degrees on Saturday, and I have to mow my lawn, so that'll be fun. If you deal with a bunch of time zones, there's the GMT face that'll somehow show you 2 different time zones simultaneously. I'm not entirely sure how this works. I stared at it and I tried to figure it out, but the data it'll allegedly do that. I don't know how. It's kind of hard for me to parse, but it does that. And then we get to the watch face that I currently use right now, Numerals Duo. This is very simple. It just shows you the current time, all big and square.
Oh, that's
so
a nice one.
You can see right now it's just 5 o'clock.
I love that one.
It's very simple. No complications, just the time in a big old time, and you can have it color match your band. It comes in a bunch of colors that you can use.
I like the one where you it's just the outline of the numbers.
Yeah.
So they're not instead of them being solid, it's an outline. That one looks really good.
Mm-hmm. There's the Apple Watch face that Tim Cook uses called Infograph. I think it's kind of similar to Wayfinder, except I think that's the older style of it. They have extra large, which just shows the time really big and one of the small complications, but it blows it up to fill the whole screen of the watch. So it's really easy to see.
It's like a Cricket phone version of the Apple Watch.
Yeah. The Jitterbug watch. There's the Nike digital one, which has it's a digital watch face and it has just a few complications on the side. It's also kind of minimal.
Is that good? That's good for running, right?
Yeah.
If you're a runner.
Even if you're not into running, like it's just it uses a different font from all the other watch faces. It uses like that italics Nike font, so it's a little more exciting. There's the Chronograph Pro one, which has a built-in stopwatch, world time, which shows you the entire world at once.
Jeez. Wow.
For some reason. And we get to my all-time favorite Apple Watch face that we sadly have to pay our respects to because it's no longer with us. Numerals. It was an analog watch face that was really great for a weekend when you don't need to know the precise time, but you want an attractive watch face that, still gives you a vague impression of the time, because it would be like it was really simple. It was just like the 3 watch hands, and then it would highlight the hour in a big number. And, then you could get an approximation. Oh, it's, a bit past the hour. Oh, it's almost the next hour. I really liked it. It was my favorite, but Apple sadly removed it, I think, in watchOS 10. So I then moved over to using Numerals Duo. I hope and pray every year that they'll at least, if not bring it back, then maybe bring back a new Apple Watch face kind of inspired by it. I think in recent years, they've been adding new watch faces with the release of the new watches in September. So there could be new watch faces in watchOS 26 that we haven't seen yet because Apple hasn't shown them to us yet. But
right, yeah, I think they did that last time, didn't they? Yeah, very cool. Well, there's I did some research this morning. It said you can have 50 faces on your watch that are available for swiping for quick changes. So you can set up to 50, but you can have. There was no upper limit on the number of faces you can have on the Apple Watch app that you can add to the Apple Watch. And I never did get a number for the actual total that are available, so I have no idea. But it's, I mean, with the customizations and everything, it's in the thousands, and with all the third-party complications and stuff. One of my favorites is Memoji. No, what's it called? Memoji.
Mm-hmm.
It's this one where you get a little cartoon robot face.
Oh, yeah?
And
you can even have your own face on there if you really wanted to. You can switch the emoji that it uses.
So your own Memoji face?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
the last thing I want to see is my ugly potato face.
But a cartoon version of your ugly potato face.
Well,
with a big grin.
I don't even like looking at it when it's, on the login screen of the Mac. But these ones have really, I think, very, very witty animations. They're funny. They're really genuinely funny. Mm-hmm. The robot, like its eyes will pop and its ears will burst out. And it makes me laugh like an idiot. Every time I look at it, you lift up your wrist and there's a different animation. You can customize it to have a fox or a cat, a dog, a unicorn. There's even the poo emoji will do. I haven't put that one on, but that's one of my favorites. And my mum's really into the Snoopy watch face. She keeps showing me, yes, look at this, and then by the time she shows me, it's already gone. But a little bird will fly around, or Snoopy will sit up, or whatever. There's all kinds of. Every time it's unique. It's wonderful. They really are really wonderful and really well. They're so whimsical. It's they're really a little joy, but a bit of joy in the day.
A little bird, the little bird.
Oh, Tweety, what's his name?
Woodstock.
Oh, Woodstock, right.
I remember when that was introduced that they had to say that they had to come up with so many animations for that based on like all the different directions that the hands can be at different parts of the day. They had to uniquely animate all of those, and it took an incredibly long time.
I'll bet. Wow. Crazy. Yeah.
I wonder how many people they have on each one of these. Like does one person work on only one, or do 10 people work on one, or does one person work on 10? I mean, why would they eliminate one ever even? I mean, it's kind of odd.
It's not taking up space. Like, you just keep it,
Yeah.
All it did is make me sad.
It is amazing scrolling through the face gallery in the watch app on the phone. It's like kind of astonishing how many they've got in there now.
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh. Some of them are so like kind of goofy, it's weird. So there's so many great ones, but then there's just weird ones.
Yeah, like the artist one that just shows you a bunch of different cartoon faces.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's in there, but it is. You can see me rank all of them and make fun of most of them in my Apple Watch tier list video, which I'll link in the show notes.
I want to mention one more before we go, which is one I had for a long time. And in fact, which is this one, the solar dial. Some guy at the airport last year, he noticed my white watch band, and he went, "Oh, nice band, nice Apple Watch Ultra." And then he was like, "Oh, look, nice watch face." He had the same solar one on too, and it shows you where you are in the solar cycle of the globe or the planet. So when as darkness approaches, it moves over, and it's a nice looking, really nice looking, colorful watch face. Interesting.
So many of these things, I look at them and I'm like, what in the world kind of information is this trying to convey to me? I mean, they're honestly like so complex. It's I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what that
is.
is.
There's one really crazy one that I don't know what it's called, but I saw a picture on Reddit. Sorry, I don't want to get into this, but it was really mad. It looked like a Mayan, something you'd see in a Mayan temple, with the all the astronomical movements of all the planets and stars for 500 years. It was about 8 different concentric circles with all this information on it. Really crazy looking.
Still waiting on the Stonehenge one.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of fun in changing the faces. I mean, I go through. Sometimes I'll sit on a face and it'll just I'll keep it for a while, but then I'll go on a face hunt and start trying out different things and changing them up. I know I've heard of some people who change them daily. Change their watch faces daily. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh yeah, I mean you can set up so many of them, and you can change it with the style. You can have different, set faces for every different band you have, if you're one of those people. Right.
That's actually quite a cool look, I think, when people match the face of the band they're wearing. Mm-hmm. That can often look really, really nice. Yeah, really good.
Do you ever set one up for a focus? Like I have one for, believe it or not, a darts focus on Wednesday night at 7:30. My phone face changes, a couple of different complications show up, and my watch face goes to that Numerals too. It's just nothing but the time and big fat numbers, so I can glance down and see what time it is. I think that's kind of one of the cooler things with Focus is how you can just change the whole look of everything. Everything, your phone and your watch. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't really made use of that.
Start playing darts, then you'll do it.
But I should do, that's definitely, also like when I go for a bike ride at the weekend, I could definitely, that would definitely be really handy for that kind of thing, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can take it as far as you want. I mean, you can customize things. You can, you could say, oh, I just want this watch face because I just need these two complications and I need them to be giant so that I can hit them, tap them easily.
Right. Yeah. I suppose you don't do it. Do you do it, Griffin?
Yeah, I have the only Focus that I use regularly is I'm using it right now, the CultCast Focus that I have, which when I'm recording, I switch my computer to dark mode. I have my phone switched to a different, what do you call it? Yeah, lock screen and wallpaper that's all black. And my computer switches from light mode to dark mode so that there's not as much glare in my glasses. And I actually wish you could do a little more with it on the Mac. On the Mac, you can have a shortcut that changes your wallpaper to like a picture that you give it, but you can't really use it to pick between Apple's built-in wallpapers that they have. So after setting running the shortcut and all that, I have to manually go into system settings and change my wallpaper to black and then change it back to the solar one that I usually have it on, the solar gradient wallpaper that keeps it, the same color of the sky, which is what I normally have it on. I even spent like a good hour or so seeing if I could build an Apple script that would manually set the wallpaper for me. But ever since Apple redid system preferences into system settings, it broke AppleScript support. And I lost a lot of time trying to get that to work.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to setups. We're going to, that's a regular feature we have on the website is setups. We often, 3 days a week, we feature someone's Mac work from home setup and try to find what's interesting about it, the different list of gear they're using and how they have various things set up to help them work more efficiently or better. And this week, that one of the ones that we featured has a iPod Hi-Fi, which is, I think, plugged into the computer and is used as the speaker output. And of course, the iPod Hi-Fi was one of Apple's first speakers, and it was designed specifically to slot your iPod into the top. It had a 30-pin dock connector at the top, and you plug your iPod in at the top and play the sound through the speaker. And Jobs, I was actually at the launch. I can't remember what year it was. Was it like 2008 or something like that? 2005?
I think it might have been earlier, because I think like peak iPod was like, 2005?
So I drove down to Cupertino, and they had it was across the way from the hall where they usually did the product introductions, the town hall, I think it was called. They had a little theater, a precursor to the Steve Jobs theater. Across the hallway, they'd set up like a home. It was like a mini apartment. There was a living room, a bedroom.
February 2006.
Okay, 2006, and they had they had an iPod Hi-Fi in each of these different locations. And Jobs, when he launched it, said that he'd been an audiophile his whole adult life, and he'd spent thousands and thousands of dollars on very, very exclusive audiophile equipment. And he said at the launch that this matched his audiophile system, which everyone scoffed at. They was like, yeah, don't be ridiculous. But I don't know, it's really stood the test of time. It was a bomb when it was launched. I mean, it didn't really sell that many. I never set the world on fire. But it actually sounds really good. It actually really is a great speaker. I managed to pick one up. A neighbor of mine had one in his garage and he wanted to get rid of it. So I bought it for $10, which I thought was bargain of the century.
It really is. That's a steal.
It really is, yeah. And I put a Bluetooth adapter. You can get a 30-pin Bluetooth adapter so that you can beam Bluetooth to it. And of course, I know audiophiles will scoff because Bluetooth is downgrading my audio, but it really sounds great. It really does. It's absolutely room-filling sound. It sounds as good as any beatbox. It had some really clever baffling and all sorts of wind pipes inside to push air out of it. So it gives you a subwoofer effect. I thought it sounds gorgeous. It really is a nice sounding speaker.
And we should say that if you're listening and you like to look at it, there'll be a link in the podcast description where you can bring up the picture.
Right, yeah. And this is a nice looking setup, isn't it? What do you think? He's got a 3D printer here in one corner, but it looks like he's got three different computers that are visible.
Mm-hmm. So this is like a pretty modern looking office. I guess I'll paint a word picture for the people who are maybe driving and shouldn't be poking at their phones. Pretty modern office. He's got like an L-shaped desk and table with just screens all around and laptops on a bunch of different stands. He's got a fancy keyboard I see over to the left with a bunch of different colors on it, 2 3D printers. But one thing deeply irritates me about this setup, and each of you have one guess, if you can guess what it is that annoys me.
I don't know. I'm looking. I don't see anything immediately obvious. Maybe the...
What infuriated me as soon as I saw this is that this guy has this one wall that he's applied like that vertical wood slat.
Oh, right.
And that he has a TV on it that isn't centered. And it's so obvious because you can see, there's one wood slat to the right of it and 5 to the left of it.
It's not even straight. I wonder if it's on an arm or something.
It's like he might as well have put the TV on a ruler or like glued a level to the top of it that shows that it's slightly off center or slightly askew, because that's basically what he's done here. Add to the fact that like visible on this TV is what is clearly an AI generated image, because it's a cityscape with a neon sign that says HOOODE. That's what
I was trying to figure out what that meant. I thought you were going to say that the aren't those like MacBooks that are weirdly tilted up against the wall?
I mean, if you're going to have your MacBook in the sort of desktop laptop mode, that's not actually a bad idea, because there's a pretty big vent at the back of your MacBook and along the bottom, and that looks like an old Intel MacBook based on the fact that it has the glowing Apple logo on it. So, you know, those things are wind machines. Like you want to give those adequate ventilation. So
are those running the... Are those... I can't even tell what all is going on. There's several different things going on in this thing.
Well, I think the computer on the right is an old ThinkPad. Because if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, it's got that cross-diagonal ThinkPad logo and the distinctive black case.
Yeah, and yeah, that must be running Windows 11, because you can see the Windows taskbar on that ultra-wide screen in the center of the screen.
Super wide and super short. There
actually don't appear to be very many Macs here. The only other Mac I see is that Intel MacBook Pro, which must be pre-2016. And that's driving a little display that has like a big flippy clock screensaver on it. Then he's got the iPod Hi-Fi and then another Dell laptop to the left.
Just like three places to sit in this thing. What the?
Yeah.
Maybe it explains in the post. I didn't read it.
This guy doesn't appear to be very far into the cult of Mac, because he's only got one ancient Mac.
Right, except for the iPod Hi-Fi. Yeah, there's not a lot of Apple stuff in there. And although, what's on the screensaver on the Dell machine that seems to be running the 3D printer? That's not Apple Park, is it?
No, that's just
some stadium.
I don't know what that. Maybe Las Vegas or something. It might be I think that's the default Windows lock screen where it just shows you random pictures every day. I don't know where that is though. I don't recognize it.
Oh, well, there is one other Apple product. I don't know if you can spot it.
Is that the exploded thing up on the wall?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, he's got one of those frame teardowns.
Yeah. So you can see he's murdered an iPhone 4 and framed the evidence on the wall.
Right.
What the heck is that thing above the window? Is that like a giant... it looks like something from an old Star Trek, like that somebody would use to keep the prisoners in line.
Star Wars. That's a lightsaber.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong way.
Where is it? Where?
How can it be a lightsaber? I don't think
hanging
you can...
above the window.
Oh,
you can't hang a lightsaber by the blade. It's not a real lightsaber.
That's right. It would chop through the hook, wouldn't it?
Right through it.
Yeah. So what do we think? Do we like this setup or not? I don't know. Not a lot of Macs.
Yeah, not a lot of Macs.
Sheesh.
I don't want to work on Windows 11.
Ugh.
You don't, all I could say, way neater than mine.
Yeah.
I can cast no stones.
It does look like a nice, relaxing room, doesn't it?
Yeah, look at this. There's even an easy chair there.
Oh, perfect for a nap, yeah.
God.
Okay, so the next section we're going to have, and we're going to do this every week. Griffin, listener questions. Take it away.
So this is a fun new segment we're going to try out. If you have a tech problem, if you need help making a purchase decision, or if you want me to be forced to research a weird or specific question, this is a segment where we will come to the rescue. So I solicited questions from the Cult Club Discord, from Mastodon. But if you would like to send in questions going forward, you can send us a text using the link at the very top of the show notes. You can just do it from your phone, 15 seconds, bang out your problems or concerns, whatever ails you, and we'll pick the best one and answer it every week. So this first one comes from a username I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce, NY Platano. It's like trying to read a license plate. I don't know where I'm supposed to initialize or what I'm supposed to read, but
it
that
could
person,
be Nip Lanto.
Nip Lanto, I like that more. Wrote, quote, "Need a solution for iCloud storage. Wife is hogging up all our storage with photos, so need a solution to offload and have them available. I know Airfun has been going through the same thing, but maybe research a simple, elegant solution for this."
Nice of him to throw his wife under the bus there.
Yeah. Maybe she listens to the show. Maybe they're driving somewhere right now and she's just heard that.
Yeah, bash him over the head.
Yeah.
Well, this is a problem everyone deals with, isn't it? Oh my goodness, iCloud storage space. What a headache.
So the two constraints he's put on is need a solution to offload them and have them available. Well, Airfun's solution to that was to wait for Apple to allow him to spend more money on it and just buy more iCloud storage space. As far as I know, that's what he did. When the 4 terabyte option was available, he just upgraded to that and gave them more money. That's probably not the solution you want, but that is the easiest way to keep them available.
Cough up.
Yeah. The next best thing you can do is what I would recommend. What is always the thing that takes up the most space pretty much in everybody's life is the videos that you have in iCloud, especially now that everybody can record 4K footage on their phone and, Dolby Vision or whatever. So what I would do is I would try and find the biggest videos in your photo library, make a good backup of them, like export them to your computer, put them on a hard drive or storage or something, wherever would be convenient to have it available, and then remove them from iCloud. And that could save, if you've recorded like a kid's play or, band or a concert show or something like that, you've got minutes and minutes and minutes, or maybe even like an hour or so of 4K video. I mean, that's probably taking up like hundreds of gigabytes of space right there. So, and
actually, we featured an app this week that will a free app that doesn't have any advertising, and it is called Clever Cleaner, and it's from the same folks that did what was it?
Disk
a
Drill.
Mac version, Disk Drill, right? Which is a great program. So these guys have a new free app out that will help clean up iPhone storage. And it's free and it doesn't have any advertising. So it's like, what's not to like? And it has a whole bunch of really clever stuff, but it'll help you find those big fat video files.
Yeah. I think that the next biggest thing you can do is if you have ever like texted people videos over iMessage, that takes up a lot of space. And you can find that by, I didn't think to write down the exact path in the show notes here, but it's on like settings, general usage, and then you go down to like messages, and that'll actually show you these are all of the videos that you have in your iMessage history, that you could have sent to somebody like 5 years ago. Your parents ask you, oh, send me a video of the kids or whatever. And so you send them like a 5-minute video, and that takes up just like, 10 gigabytes forever on your iMessage history. And that just, gets caught up in your device backups and iMessage and iCloud. So there's a spot there, and I think that's really the only place where Apple will tell you these are the specific videos that are taking up a lot of space. You can delete them there because presumably you already have copies of these videos elsewhere in your photo library where they're more discoverable and they're actually useful to you. But delete them out of your iMessage history, and Bob's your uncle. You'll save a lot of space there. And more importantly, practice doing this yourself before you try doing it on your wife's phone, because she'll get annoyed if you're futzing around with it for an hour and accidentally delete a bunch of important stuff that she likes.
All right, good tips. Very good tips.
So again, if you have problems, hit the link in the show notes.
All right. Okay. So the last section is we're going to do reviews, and we're hoping to sort of do a show and tell. Every week we're going to choose something that we've been reviewing, and we're going to try and bring in some of the other Cult of Mac writers to talk about stuff they reviewed. But this week I'm going to talk about 3 portable CarPlay screens that I've been testing out. And a portable CarPlay screen is a sort of lightweight, standalone screen that you can mount on your dash and plug into your cigarette lighter port or any outlet in your car, and it'll display CarPlay. And I've got 3 here to show. Hold on, let's try. That I've been using. This one is a 7-inch screen, CarPlay screen. As you can see, it's a pretty light. I took it off its mount. The mount is in the car, and I also have a 10-inch one that I've been testing out, which actually,
sheesh.
This one, as you can see, is a little flatter.
And wider.
And this one's wider, yeah. And this one's square. And also, this third one, which has a base. So, and this one folds. And this one is good for the glove box. And so, this one actually is kind of the easiest one to stash. Like in San Francisco, you cannot leave anything in your car because it's going to get instantly broken. I was talking to a cop about this the other day, and he said if you leave a quarter visible, it's going to get broken into. So this one is good for, the streets of San Francisco. Easy to stash in the glove box and put out the way. But this one is and I don't know. You know what? Actually, I don't have a favorite because I've got 3 different vehicles, and this 7-inch one. I thought I would like the bigger screen better, but I kind of like the square screen. And this one fits perfectly into a cubby hole of my Land Rover. There's on the dash, there's a little cubby that this thing fits perfectly into. So that one's good for the Land Rover. And then this one I use in I got a Scion IQ. It's like a little 2-door subcompact Toyota. And this one I mount...
The ultra-wide one.
Yeah, and on top of the built-in factory stereo. And it has a grippy base that it comes with a sticker. So I stuck it on top, and the thing is rock solid. And then I just have to screw it in at the back here. And that's the only thing I don't like about it is I've got to screw and unscrew this thing every time I get in and out of the car because I don't want it to get ripped off. There's no way I'm going to leave it at the top of right in full view through the windshield. But I love these things. I mean, I've waited for because my cars are so old and beat up, and the Land Rover doesn't have Bluetooth in it, but it's got a beautiful Harman Kardon sound system, and the mechanic said that there's no way you want to remove the factory stereo because it's so tied into the electronics, the thing will never work right ever again, and it's got enough electrical problems as it is. Being
a British car, yeah.
Yeah. Electronics by Lord, what was his name? The Lord of Darkness, Lord Lucas. Lucas Electronics, the Lord of Darkness. This thing has been like what I first did, and is I bought like the solution used to be a couple of years ago was to get an adapter like this. So this is a wireless CarPlay adapter. The first ones were wired. You had to plug your phone into these things, and then I attached it to a cheap Fire tablet, an Amazon Fire tablet. And this thing cost $65 on Amazon, the adapter, and the tablet was, I think, on sale for $35, $40. Normally like $100, $120 or more. But, Amazon on Prime Day sold it cheap. But then it was a huge pain to get the thing to charge while using it because it's only got one port. So I had to duct tape a wireless charger to the back. Oh my goodness. And then when this thing is all wired up, because I've got an aux jack going to the stereo, then I've got a power jack going into the, I had to attach it to a hub to get power to the cigarette lighter. So there was about 8 wires hanging off this thing. And it worked okay. It was pretty good. But these portable power screens, CarPlay screens are way, way easier. And I was really surprised that they're really, I don't know if I want to demonstrate on this one, but the touch screens are really pretty responsive. They're quick. There's not much lag. They have pretty decent speakers and pretty decent microphones. I can have the music on, and the wind noise will be, pretty loud.
How good are the displays? Because the thing is, when you're usually buying a third-party thing, like they put in cheap displays that you might not be able to see in like broad sunlight if a ray of sunshine is coming in through the windshield? How bright are they?
I have, they're pretty bright. You know, I haven't had a problem. I have not noticed a problem. I mean, like, I haven't tested under every circumstance to be for sure.
Yeah, but you're in sunny California, so you've got the worst case scenario every day.
Right. Yeah. But it tends to be shaded. You know, where it is on the dash. It's a little bit offset from the front windshield. Mm-hmm. But I haven't had any problems with legibility at all. And you can crank up. It has its own settings for brightness and for certain displays like that. But you know, and these are actually standalone units too. Like, this one is a bit more expensive. This is a $200 unit, and it comes with Android 12, and it has all its own built-in apps. So you can use it as a standalone, and it comes with it has built-in GPS and a GPS antenna, so that you can use this as on its own if you wanted to. Now, I have zero interest in that, and the only thing I was interested in was CarPlay. So I haven't tested any of that stuff out. But you know, it comes with Spotify and Chrome. You can Chromecast this thing. It's an AirPlay 2 speaker. You can Bluetooth to it. It has a built-in FM transmitter. So if you want to connect it to your car stereo by tuning into the radio, it'll do it that way. This one also has a built-in FM transmitter. So you don't even have to plug it in. You know, you can just set it up to whatever frequency it is. I haven't tested this, but and then you tune your radio into that FM frequency, and it'll play whatever it's playing. And it's good for phone calls too. You know, like, it'll play. It has its own built-in microphones, but it'll play the sound through the speakers. You know, so when you're taking a call, it sounds great. You know, it'll pause the music, and it comes out of the car speakers. It also supports Android Auto, and you know, with iOS 26, with a new version of CarPlay, there's all these new features now. You can actually, when you're parked, you can play video for the first time. But I've had it loaded up with, you can get Waves on it. And for music, you know, I use this one a lot, BBC Sounds, which is the BBC, you get all the BBC radio stations streaming from London. To me, that is just a miracle that I can do this. You know, it's wonderful. Spotify, of course, all kinds of mapping apps. Yeah, I've really fallen in love with these things. I think they're absolutely fantastic. And, well, anyway, did you guys have any questions about these?
No questions. Looks a lot easier than ripping the old stereo out and replacing it with an in-dash model, which is what I had it. Well, I didn't do it. I had it done.
And how much did that cost? A few $100?
Yeah, I mean, the thing itself was a couple $100, and yeah, you know, I had some other stuff done at the same time, like a rear view mirror or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, I can't imagine not having CarPlay if I'm going anywhere that I don't know where I need to be. I mean, I know people just use their phone or whatever, but to me, it's just so much simpler. Something about the way that it displays on a bigger screen. It's just super easy.
Yeah, and once you get used to using it, you know, you don't. I used to be terrible at texting and searching for things in maps, you know, all the time on my phone. And of course, now you don't do it. I gotta admit, I've had a little bit of a mixed experience getting Siri to get directions and stuff. You know,
really?
But in general, it works, and you know, and I think mostly it's a you know, when Siri fails, I think it's Siri rather than you know, the microphones or the processors on these screens. Funny enough, we sell all three of these, and the reason I was reviewing them is because yeah, we have them all on the Cult of Mac store. And this one, the 10-inch one, the 10-inch CarPlay one, is normally $200, but we have it at 40% off for $119. And now I don't know if I should say this, but there's another version that isn't quite as fancy. It doesn't have all of the built-in Android 12. You know, it's not a standalone one. It's just more of a sort of pure CarPlay Android Auto connection, portable CarPlay screen that is only $65. But it's also a 10-inch screen like this, and it comes with a telescopic mount. So you stick it to your windshield under the mirror, and you can project it out like under the mirror, which actually looks really good. A really good place to put it. And there's another one that comes with both front and rear cameras for $109, which is 42% off. And again, it's not quite as fancy as this one, but it's the same 10-inch sort of slim layout screen. And we can put the URL in to find those. This one, the 7-inch one, is $64, which is 53% off. And I like this one. This one's a pretty good one. And then the folding one is $90, which is 43% off. And you can find all these on the Cult of Mac store.
Yeah. A week before Prime Day, so we've got them beat.
All right, so I think that just about wraps it up. That's all the CultCast we have for you this week. But the fun continues. You can follow Lewis Wallace on Twitter at Lewis Wallace. I'm L. Caney on Twitter. I never tweet, and I haven't posted anything there for years, so I don't know why you'd want to do that. Griffin's on Mastodon with all 3 of his friends, and Blue Sky at D. Griffin Jones. So I didn't mean to say you had 3 friends. I mean 3 friends on Mastodon.
Both are true.
Right. That's 3 more than I've got anyway. And of course you can join. There's a week-long discussion all week at the Cult Club Discord, and that's at support.thecultcast.com. That's support.thecultcast.com. So send us a text using the link at the top of the show notes, and send us some questions. You know, we're gonna really dive into that. I think it's gonna be a fun part of the show. So this has been the CultCast, the worst Apple podcast on the whole internet. New episodes of the Shotcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank you for listening, for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a great 4th of July weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, sorry. And the swearing. You're going to beep out the swearing?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Do you do a beep, or how do you do it?
I use the original Macintosh alert sound.
How does that sound?
If you're the sort of person to recognize that exact frequency, then I'm like, I recognize that sound.
It. Okay, cool. All right.
Did you like hosting?
I didn't hate it.
Okay.